let's check in with the listeners.
Hey.
Listeners, remember you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, just like Michael did.
Hey, Michael.
And he sent his
Mike.
email
Smart
from
fellow.
Windows Mail.
Oh.
Says, I just listened to the most recent GameScoop episode. I'm glad to see you guys are also excited about the Banjo-Kazooie spiritual successor. We talked about this last week. Several former Rare developers are getting together to make another 90s style platformer.
Please get funding and release on all platforms. Love IGN.
Michael says, the point was brought up that there are too many collectibles in that game. Now, this is Jared Petty talking, who's normally a very nice guy.
You mean he wasn't nice when he said
No,
that?
he's banned, after last week's episode, he's banned from the studio.
In fact, this is even referenced at the beginning of Nuts and Bolts, a game that I actually like.
Underrated.
Yeah, underrated game. There is the dialogue along the lines of, gamers aren't into collecting things anymore. Now note, Nuts and Bolts came out kind of early in the Xbox 360 life cycle, before several other franchises became more established. And since then, we have seen that gamers do still like collecting things in games. In fact, they may like to do that more often than ever. Why do I say this? Look at the most recent open world games, Infamous series, Assassin's Creed series, Far Cry 3 and 4.
Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
Those games are full of optional collectibles that I see very few people complain about. And then the recent Dragon Age Inquisition was very similar. How many quests in that were basically you walking around the world trying to find collectibles? The Banjo series may seem like it has a lot of collectibles, but they actually serve a stronger purpose than, and I think like Crackdown, collecting them is actually fun. Not sure what that means. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Super excited for this. Love the show.
I think we can all agree that Jared's wrong.
No, I mean,
Yeah, I hadn't really thought of it. I'm running around Far Cry 4, like finding all the like treasure boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
I love
outposts
collecting.
and yeah.
So I guess the question is, did collectathons ever really go away?
I don't think they ever went away. I think the difference is that in today's kind of gaming era, like you have to contextualize those collectibles in a way that's meaningful. You know, like for instance, so with Dragon Age, right? I put 160 hours total probably in Dragon Age over the course of like 1.5 playthroughs. And I never stopped exploring and looking around for collectibles, but it wasn't because I was like, I just gotta catch them all. I just gotta have everything. It's because every little kind of loose thread that you see, you tug on it a little bit, and it leads you somewhere that seems interesting. And at the end, there's a payoff. Maybe it's a story payoff. Maybe it plays into like one of the larger game systems, like where you increase your power or your prestige,
Exactly.
or you get a new skill, or you get an awesome new piece of gear that changes how you play your character.
I mean, even GTA 3. And I think carried forward in subsequent GTAs, you find enough of the, whether it's pigeons or
packages,
and you eventually get, like now at my base I have an armor vest, a flak jacket I can grab whenever I want. So.
Yeah, I think it's mostly about Banjo-Kazooie 1 did it well, or I guess just Banjo-Kazooie, where the collectibles actually helped you. Like it was less of a, well, I'm just going to get them for getting them sake, and more of like, well, if you get X amount of these, then it's going to unlock a door. If you get this, it's going to unlock a secret, which is how it should be. Like, I shouldn't just be collecting something for the sake of a checklist. But if I know there's something like the collectibles in like Yoshi's Island, you wanted to get 100% in every level because then they unlocked the secret levels, which are some of the game's best ones. So as long as you sort of give us a light at the end of the tunnel, then I think collecting stuff's fine.
Yeah, not just a light at the end of the tunnel, but I feel also lights along the way.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, for instance, for me, like you mentioned Grand Theft Auto, I can't really say for 3 because it's been a while, but I mean, for the more recent Grand Theft Autos, I cannot be bothered to go find like 100 pigeons or like 300 hidden packages. I'm like, if maybe finding each of them is super interesting and each package gives me something, some kind of a payoff, even if it's just an interesting bit of story or anything.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and also there's got to be an interesting way about finding them. Has to be interesting. Like it can't just be like me running around in circles for 2 hours hoping I see a pigeon. I need to have leads. I need to feel like I'm kind of like picking up a breadcrumb trail and solving something and having actual real gameplay to it.
The game I remember being the tipping point when people started saying the amount of collectibles in this game is too damn high. Donkey Kong 64.
Yep, that's exactly where I was going to. And that game was because not only was there just like a dozen different forms of collectibles, but it was different for each one of the stupid characters in that game.
Yeah.
And oh my, that game is just.
So it does kind of seem like after that game came out, collectathon sort of like
Collectathon bubble burst.
Went away for a little bit, but now, as we see today, there's just lots of open world games where there's just tons of stuff to collect.
And like
I think that's
people have the nostalgia. Like we brought it up last week that this Banjo-Kazooie game. Then there's that Hat in Time, which is a kickstarted 3D platforming game that feels a lot like Mario Sunshine or like Banjo-Kazooie. So I think people are, especially people who like were our age at that time, are excited for stuff like that.
And I think the key thing there too is that having lots of stuff to collect just gives you more to do in that world. And if you really love that world and the world is a fun place to be, then it probably won't become a problem for you. In a case like Donkey Kong 64, where the game is pretty much trash. Going around, I mean, I don't think anyone would disagree with Well, maybe
retroactively put that on the box.
I bet IGN would disagree with
Pretty much trash.
No, it's not
9.9. Craig Harris.
But I mean, especially a game like that where like the core gameplay is not that fun. Why would I want more of something that's not that fun?
Sure.
Masochism.
Yep. Because I hate myself. Yeah.
Speaking of masochism,
Oh, nice segue.
before we go this week, what are we going to play this weekend? I just crossed the 20-hour mark in Darkest Dungeon.
Oh, yes.
Which I love. That's my favorite game of the year.
So good.
I'm going to be playing that for a long time.
Yep,
and
so thoroughly good.
Masochism is one of the quirks that characters
the status
get
effects,
when they get too insane. I also downloaded The Escapists and started checking that out last night, but it didn't grab me right away.
Escapists?
Yeah, it's out now for Xbox
It just
One,
hit this week.
Yeah.
PC. Okay. It's an 8-bit Prison Break style game.
Oh,
but it's
cool.
like,
It's by Team 17, the Worms guys.
Yes.
Oh,
Is it actually
no.
by
You've
them, or do they
instantly
just sort of like...
They're in on it somehow.
they-
yeah.
You've instantly made me want to play this game.
Yeah, I don't know.
anything-
Tell me what you think about it. The first half hour didn't really grab me when I was playing it last night, but it's getting good reviews, so I don't know. We're gonna see. But what are you guys gonna play this weekend?
Yeah, I'm still working on Dying Light. Huge game. I really like it. It's just there's just enough new about it. I mean, I've always gotten the Left 4 Dead meets Mirror's Edge vibe from it, but it turns out it's a pretty deep, almost RPG-ish kind of game too. The first half an hour of the game, you're not even fighting anything. It's just setting up characters, and it's a really interesting first-person experience. And then actually just installed Far Cry 4 last night. Speaking of,
you just started playing that?
I'm just finally about to get into it because I was busy with other things over the fall season.
Yeah.
So.
I was playing Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah.
But my girlfriend and I were trading off. Like we both had our own campaigns, and she would play for an hour or two, and I'd coach her, and then I would play for an hour or two, and she would point stuff out. But then we decided to stop because we don't want to burn ourselves out and see most of what the game has to offer.
Because it's in early access.
It's still in early access, and I think they're still working on the mid and late games.
Yeah.
Sections of the game. We just don't want to. We already know that this game is going to be so excellent for us, and that we're going to love it so much that we actually put it down because we want to be able to fully enjoy it once it's a finished product later. That's how much we like it already. But I'm all day, every day I'd be evolving.
Every day I'd be evolving.
Yeah,
every day I'd be evolving.
More of that too.
Evolve.
You're going to play a game tonight that I'm very excited for.
Oh yes, I am. That's right. I'm going to get a chance to play Disgaea 5 this evening, which we're both big Disgaea fans.
Yeah.
First time the series is coming to the current gen platforms. Interested to see what the PS4 does, if anything, for the visual style of those games.
Yeah,
So I mean, those aren't really visually or graphically intense games.
Sure,
they have a very cool anime style. So.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how they adapt that look, if at all, to the modern hardware, or if they just play it straight, which would be fine by me. So either way, I'm super excited for that.
Nice.
And Marty.
I'm going to play through the order, especially because I know it's only 6 or 7 hours long.
Yeah.
Just to sort of, not to say I did it, but I feel like
Also, you host a PlayStation podcast.
I also host a PlayStation podcast, so I should probably go first.
I want to play it too because the gameplay from I've played it in little tiny slices at shows like E3. And,
Sure.
And the combat feels super Gears of War-y in a I played this 9 years ago kind of way. But actually, I'm super interested in the story. And our review by Brendan Tyrell said the story's good.
Yeah, the world's cool. Obviously, the game's gorgeous. And again, we've talked about this a few times, but I like the fact. I mean, a lot of people are in a hoopla over the fact that the game's 6 hours long, but I'm like, nope, totally.
Fine.
I love that.
Have no free time, so if I could beat it in 2 sittings, then
I'm all about an awesome 8-hour game with no filler in it.
Yeah,
it's I have a full-time job and a family, so a 40-hour thing is actually kind of intimidating to me these days. Yeah. I know it's that there's a switch that flips at some point in your life. When you're younger and you have tons of free time and not as many responsibilities. It's not that's a good thing. That's not a
also you have less disposable income, so you need
more free value.
Sure. Yeah. I'll also be playing a handful of indie games I got builds of that during GDC, the Game Developer Conference, which is in San Francisco at the beginning of March.
2 weeks.
Yeah, in 2 weeks, we hold a really cool sort of indie mix event in our office where you have like 50 or 60 devs setting up games. So I'm playing a lot of those games, and we're gonna.
What's been at those in years past?
God, in years past.
Last year, Chariot was at, or last year.
Chariot.
Hack and Slash.
Yeah, Hack and Slash. Double Fine always has a
Hyper Light Drifter.
Hyper Life Drifter. Roundabout. Yeah, a lot of really cool games. And the list, I saw the list that we have this year. I think it's not published yet, but the list is awesome. Cool. So a lot of cool stuff that we'll be covering in the next couple weeks.
Cool, very exciting.
I think that's all the scoops we have for you this week. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Vince. Thank you, Marty.
Yeah.
Remember, you can always reach us at the email address, gamescoop@ign.com. My name is Damon. This is IGN GameScoop, and we're out.